Hello, and welcome to another episode of Scavenger Life. This is episode number 301 at scavengerlife.com.
We want to thank everyone for the congratulations on 300.
Yep.
But like we said, we would not be doing this many episodes week after week for the past 4 years or whatever if it wasn't for people caring about this, you know?
Caring about our boring lives.
So this week was an interesting week for us because it is a good example of we love doing what we do. And that's because a sister came in town, and because we have the store that we can kind of like allow to go on semi-autopilot, we were able to kind of like back away from eBay and just focus on hanging out with your sister.
Now, it's funny that you say back away from eBay because we bought a ton of stuff.
Right.
Our helper helped us. I was packing like crazy. So those things are happening, but I'm not like actively listing,
right.
Know,
I kind of wanted to unpack that. So, but the statement is we were able to kind of back away. I mean, we sold to ship. We sold to pull items. We sold to ship. I mean, it's like you said, we still went and bought stuff. Things did got it listed, but so let's talk about this. So number one, so we went, we always talk about this, finding things that excite you,
right, or
that excite us.
Right.
If we did the same thing over and over again, if we sold the same item again and again, we wouldn't be here.
It would be really boring.
We wouldn't be selling on eBay. Like that's just not like, I guess some business people, they want like consistency and to find something and then they can just like not stop doing that,
like a widget.
And for us it's different, and maybe because we're like arty people or something, it's just we don't like to do the same thing or else we get tired and bored and burnt out. So anyway, we found a new auction that we've been to a couple of times that we really love, and like we said, it's this year we were willing to start spending some more money on inventory, higher dollar items. Right. And so this auction, we spent $700.
Yeah, we really went for it.
And honestly, when we're in the auction, I'm not really thinking about how much we're spending.
I know you're not. I know you're not. I am.
Okay, but I'm focused on each lot. And I do a dollar amount, like, is this worth the amount? Like if I'm going to, bid $100 on a table of stuff, I'm gonna think,
can I make 100 plus?
And then
plus
and then like at the end when we go and get the bill, I'm like, wow, that's a lot of $100 table.
Exactly.
And that's different. Some people are like $700. That's
nothing. It's nothing.
I mean, again, we're the kind of people that like we like to spend like $50.
Yeah. $50 for a carload.
But and I think that's important because I mean, number one, we can handle spending $700. But number two, I feel like when you're in the moment. And, and auctions are pretty fast-paced.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, we can't allow that to slow us down to think, oh, no, how much have we been spending?
I'm really bad at that.
As long as when you look at the table...
You see value.
And it's $100 for the table. Yeah. Like, you see easily $100, Or 10 times $100,
right. I mean, I did buy some stuff myself.
I was very proud of you.
Yes, I did do it. And it was stuff that... normally myself would be like, why did you just do that?
I was like, Ryan, you have to bid on something today. Like we can't walk away without you because it can't just be me being the guy buying things because we always get the same number, but we each have the same card. And I'm like, Ryan, go for it, like because there are things that you're so good at that what that thing is.
Yeah. Like I bought a whole set of like Japanese stoneware, unmarked, handmade. Usually like a whole set. You're like plates, bowls, casserole dish, mugs. Like it's a whole thing. And I was just like, I just like that. And I always buy stuff like that when I see it at a thrift store. Japanese stoneware. I love it.
It was a big set.
It was a big set.
Although I broke about 2 pieces, so...
You broke 2 pieces? I thought you only broke a plate.
I broke another piece.
What piece was it?
It was a cup.
Was that before we took pictures or after? Okay, well, if it was before, that's fine. If it's after, which was the plate, that's a pain. Because I'm like, now I got to rephotograph this stack of plates.
Okay, well, let's not talk about that part. But, like when we're at the auction, when you get in that mood of, like, I can see you're getting kind of stressed out because it feels like we're buying too much, we're
not getting what we want. Like, I bid against some people.
I actually have to ignore you. Like, I have to cut you out because you're
I'm
like
just
stressing.
like cranky.
Because you're stressing me out. Because, I mean, I would say like 25% of the stuff we buy at auctions are stuff I would never have thought to buy. Right. It's just I'm paying attention.
Yeah.
And they come to like a table where just no one wants it. And they're like, okay, who wants it for $5? And I'll be like,
I'll take it. Yeah.
I mean, and we find some cool things that way.
Yeah.
Like we bought these 3 awesome old wood chairs.
Yeah.
How would you talk about them? Like swivel office chairs?
Like 2 of them are dark wood, which is not trendy right now, but one of them has got like intricate caning. It's almost like an office chair. And then the other one is like a little, almost like a sewing desk chair with like a leather seat, and it's dark wood.
But I mean, these like well-made chairs.
One's a Gunlock chair.
Yeah. And we got 3 of them for $5.
I mean, Gunlock is like, yeah.
So, I mean, that's just an example of like if we're stressing out or not staying on top of things,
you miss that $5.
You miss those deals.
3 beautiful chairs.
Because you know, like that can happen where we'll go in, we'll preview the auction, we'll make kind of a mental list or even put it on our phone of what we want, and there'll be the thing that I really want. And I'm bidding on it, and I get outbid.
Right.
And if I allow that to like get me down, I can
miss
lose
so much stuff.
10 minutes of auction because I'm like,
just
kicking it to myself of like, why didn't I keep going? Or blah blah blah. And at the end of the auction, our truck was like the Beverly Hillbillies. I think I was trying to play it real cool and be like, it's no problem, I got this. I was actually kind of stressed out, thinking like, how am I going to load all of this stuff? It's furniture. It's boxes.
Because like
it's going to rain.
We are always looking for good furniture for the rental house too, because we need to furnish the entire house. So you bought these beautiful Danish modern mid-century tallboy dresser and a credenza. The freaking credenza is huge. I mean, credenzas are not small.
And,
but it was a good price. It was $160 for both of them, right?
To me, when I look at that, I don't think credenza, because I don't really know what that means, but it looks like a side table. It's
side table.
It's like a side table cabinet.
Yeah.
And it looks cool. It's something that you can put like a TV on.
Yeah, it is cool.
But, I mean, again, $150 for 2 of these pieces. Like, you can't get that at IKEA.
You can't.
Anyway, I have found that we can always figure out a way to take it home. And you know what? I give myself a lot of credit.
You did it.
I strapped it all in.
Well, what part of it, too, that was really brilliant is we had all these lamps. We had an entire table of, like, huge, tall lamps, but they all fit. You were like, since we have, like, a huge tarp, we can take stuff out of boxes and shove them in the weird crevices. And that... We've done that in the car, too, where we're like, the box is taking up too much room, but, you just shove it in there.
When we get home, we'll figure out how to repack it all.
We'll figure it out.
But, I really enjoy auctions.
Yeah.
Especially if you go to an auction where they have good quality stuff. There's nothing more fun than that,
And look, today we dropped my sister off at the airport in the city, and I was like, let's go to some estate sales right in the area so that, it makes it worthwhile, the drive. You kind of double up on what you did. It's a long drive. And as these estate sales we went to compared to the auction, it was like deadly.
Super junky.
Oh, just this stuff. Yeah. Super expensive. Nice stuff. Like, there's some nice stuff, but it makes me appreciate an auction with really high quality stuff for good prices. You're like, oh yeah, there are some estate sales that are just, they're just duds compared to something like, an auction.
And, that was actually at the beginning of the week when your sister came in town. She actually went from the airport to the auction.
Right.
She came right as the auction ended, and then it
was actually like the most perfect timing ever.
But then the great thing is that then we could spend the 5 days with her.
Right.
And then we now have this helper who basically listed.
Yeah.
It's photographed and wrote descriptions of everything we bought. which was great. And we just had to kind of like keep an eye on her and kind of answer questions.
We checked in with her like, okay, this is how you're going to do this. Like, I wasn't completely absent the whole time.
Other people that have hired helpers have always said that it's such a good idea. We're just slow to learn, but it really has been really nice for us. I mean,
I don't think we're slow to learn. I think we're slow to adopt.
Yeah, slow to execute.
Yeah, I mean, I learned pretty quick how it works, but
it was nice to be able to like buy a truckload of stuff and get
and have her process it
and get it. It's processed. It's within a week, and basically it costs us $200.
Yeah, to process.
So $700 for the truckload of stuff, $200 to have it's processed, and I know we'll make our money back within a month.
Yeah, I mean,
just we'll easily break even, and then there's more than enough to make good profit. I mean, and we'll talk a bit about some stuff we had found. But now, what's interesting, another kind of eBay, kind of thing we had going. It's this week. So we have 2 stores. We have our main store, and we have a second store. We don't really need the second store anymore, but we still have it.
Yeah.
Let's not argue about why we have it. It's interesting. We hit a limit on our second store.
It was so crazy. Yeah, so she was listing things, and she, text messaged me like, oh, you got to come over and look at this because eBay's limiting, like it's telling me I can't list anymore on this second store. And it was like, please call eBay to lift your selling limits. I'm like, I can't believe I'm selling
Yeah, we have a premium store.
It's the middle
level. I think what it is we've been doing a lot of high dollar items on there, and I bet it might be the high dollar. You're right. No, I have to look at it because they give you a limit on the number of items, but they also give you a limit on the dollar amount of what the stuff is worth.
Yeah, so I need to call. I mean, the good thing is I have a lot of feedback over there, and I make consistent sales every week, so it should be fine. But it was funny. I was just like, what?
So normally, I mean, I don't remember the last time we've ever hit a limit on eBay. Right. So its process is calling them and asking them.
You basically call and just be like, can you lift my selling limits? Like, or what do I have to do? Basically, I need to say, look, I have like 30 drafts right now that I would like to list, and I want to go to the next level.
And, we always know that it's normal when you just start out on eBay.
Right.
A limit makes sense because they want a new people to kind of take it a little slow to make sure
they're legit, right?
Like number one, they aren't just these like phonies putting up counterfeit objects and trying to grab cash and run. Right. But also just because it is a new process, they want to make sure someone new is doing everything correctly.
Right.
It's not just putting things up online, but when something sells, they're actually treating people right.
Dealing with customers correctly.
They get it there on time.
Yeah.
And they want to see that its process is being gone through.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good thing because it hurts us all if new person hurts us, a buyer. Because, buyers don't often think that they're buying something from an individual. They're thinking, like, I'm just buying from eBay.
Something eBay.
So if one person who sells on eBay does a bad job, it
makes it bad for everyone, yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the Scavenge of the Week.
It looks like there's several here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's mentioned some of it.
Yep.
You bought a bunch of stoneware.
Yeah, so it was that huge set of stoneware, and it was I won the bid for $35.
$35, okay.
Yeah, so good. I was happy. Well, then there's buyer's premium and tax, so whatever.
But it was basically, it's like an 8-piece set of bowls, cups, plates,
a couple of casserole dishes,
serving bowl, really beautiful. And we know if you're willing to sell this kind of stuff that you can sell like one bowl sometimes for $30. So
yeah. So I'm gonna break it up by kind, like all the mugs I'm gonna sell together, all the little soup bowls I'll sell together.
So I think there's like 8 mugs.
Yeah, it's like 8 mugs.
How much do you think you'll sell 8 mugs?
Let's see. So they're beautiful. Well, they're beautiful. They're handmade. So if you think $10 a mug, that's $80.
Yep.
Minimum. Or I say $125 best offer.
Yep.
They're beautiful. I mean, they're handmade. They're stoneware. They have this like kind of like willow floral like hand painted design on them with like cobalt blue.
Yep.
So you're like, That's nice, that's much nicer than, handmade, that's much nicer than IKEA, which is just made in a factory.
So I bought a lot of carpenter's tools.
Yeah, they're planes, right?
Carpenter tools might not be the right word for them, but they're like people that actually like handcraft like cabinets.
Like wood.
Like chisels,
that's
really
right.
Nice chisels
and planes.
So I spent $110, but it was like a bunch of.
It was
pieces.
a lot of them.
And then I went home and looked, and just one of these tools I saw will sell for like $200.
And it's funny because there are a lot of sellers at this auction, and I was very surprised that. I know 110 is high, but I'm like, I actually thought it would go much higher than that.
To be honest, after I bought them, I was like, oh my God, did I just pay too much money? But it is one of those things, and why I like in-person auctions. It's such a limited pool of people. There might be 40 people there.
Max.
So if there are often times when 40 people aren't interested in a certain type of object, and that's when you can
grab it. Yeah, free. Like I think the people you were bidding against were interested just for themselves. I don't think that they were other sellers. It was weird.
But that will be interesting to see how well they do with those.
Yeah.
And then the other thing was we had gone to a thrift store and we found a cache.
Yes.
Of suits.
Yeah.
Suit jackets.
But high end.
Right. So. This is like a junkier thrift store.
Right.
You can buy stuff by the bag just because they got so much kind of junk.
Yeah, they just...
But, the way we do it is we always try and look everywhere because you never know what you're going to find. So normally, I'm not big into suits or jackets.
We've gone away from it, yeah.
Like, we haven't sold those in a long time.
Yeah.
But I was just kind of going through them because I'd gone through everything else.
Yeah.
And I noticed, like, oh, look, this is like a... I forgot what brands they were. All these.
It wasn't right. They were high end brands, but also you could tell
Marc Echo.
The fabric was very high end. Like you could tell.
And so I started going through them, and I just started pulling them, and we probably got about 20 of them.
Yeah.
Because it looked like either number one, someone died
and had all these nice suits,
and the kids donated all of these, or number two, might have been a dry cleaner that just donated stuff that people had
didn't pick up
left there
because there were a lot of dry cleaning tags,
right?
But then again, high end people get stuff dry cleaned.
So again, I'm not super optimistic about these, but people pay for if it's nice wool,
right?
There was silk.
I found a raw silk. Yeah.
Really nice. And
a good brand, made in the USA or made in Italy. You're like, this is a nice jacket.
We always try to find the ones that actually have a size tag on them because a lot, especially the vintage suits, were like hand tailored.
Right.
So really, it's tough to sell those because they have weird sizes because it's for a specific person. So if you can get the ones that are off the shelf
that are 42R, you're like, yes.
But we got them so cheap. If we sell each one for $30
minimum, you're doing
that's
great.
$500 right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, let's talk about our numbers.
Yes.
We had an incredibly good week.
I you know what? Wow, this number is shocking.
I'm
like, what?
It's not that shocking, but so in our main store, we sold 72 items for about $2,900. I can't remember the last time that we made almost $3,000 in a week. And it just felt really normal. It felt good. Again,
felt great.
We're selling like 10 things a day where, every hour or so during the day, something is selling. It's a lot of like different kinds of stuff. We were selling high dollar stuff as well as the bread and butter. It just felt like our store was just like kicking on all cylinders.
Yeah. Well, and it's so funny because my sister was visiting, right?
Right.
So I'd wake up in the morning and she'd be getting dressed and like, whatever, doing her email. And I'd be like, I gotta pack all this stuff. And she's like, wow, like, is it always like this? I'm like, not really.
Right.
Like, this is really insane.
But, again, since Christmas time, we're now into almost the second week in March. It's been good.
Yeah.
This is a really good week. It's for us, but it's been steady. It's been nice. And so we're just going to we're trying to list as much as possible. So it's good. And then in our second store, we sold 9 items for about $300, which is good.
It's not bad.
If we're making $250 a week on that second store,
it's fine.
It's good.
We sold something on Trugether, a T-shirt.
Yeah, right.
$25 T-shirt. Hey, if I can sell a shirt for $25, I'm happy.
So do they send an email now when an item sells?
Yes, they did. They sent an email, and it actually ended on eBay. So
good.
I don't know if that happens every time.
Yeah,
but it did happen this time.
And the thing is, though, we talked about it. It's last week we got our tax return back, and we owe about $7,000 in taxes, and that's on top of what we already prepaid throughout the year. So this really. A week like this is so good because it really helps us get closer to paying those off. This was not the year for us to have a big tax bill, but because we've been trying to pour our money into a renovation, but it is what it is.
Okay, let's talk about things we sold. So last night we got a low offer for a Singer sewing machine that's beautiful.
It's like an old one.
It's called a Bentwood. It's got a Bentwood case. I forget what year it's from. I'm sure I have it on the listing.
But these things are great because, I wish more companies would do this. It's got a number on it.
A serial number.
And you can look online and you can see almost exactly when it got made.
Yeah, it's great.
I wish companies would do that.
Yeah, it's so helpful.
So we had it up for like $500. She offered us $200. We always counter when stuff like that happens.
Yeah, because I want more than that.
And so I counted at $400, and then she countered at $350, and I'm like,
yes,
she was serious.
$350.
We accepted it. Except it was interesting. Some people do this, and it's kind of wacky. So they make a counter offer, but then in the comments they ask all these questions: does it work? Can I get parts for it? And I'm just like. Except,
I'm like,
don't ask questions
and then do an offer, right?
But then we accept, and then we sent an email assuring
saying
her
all that.
There's a video that shows it works.
It comes with the case, right? You know, whatever, it works. Blah blah blah. The weird thing about this machine, I just looked it up. It's 1926, so it's electric. It's electric and hand crank. You can do both. We sold this a few months ago. I think we talked about it on the podcast. Someone gave us a good offer, like $325 or something. We were like, yes. And right after she bought it, or in her offer, she did the same thing. Does it work? Does it come with the case?
And then she
never paid.
And then she talked herself out of it and just didn't pay us.
So
cool thing is, I bought this at an estate sale for $15. And the thing is, it was on an online auction.
Online auction, yeah.
Where then we had to go pick it up. They said it was just the case, and the case is really cool. It's bent wood, so it's like this bent piece of wood. I was thinking, like, I'll buy the case for it's $15. I pick it up. It's super heavy.
It's like 40 pounds.
Basically, they couldn't figure out how to open it, so they were just said, well, we can guarantee there's a case. If there's
just
something
basically
in it, it's
sold as is.
And you're the one that kind of broke into it.
I picked the lock. Yeah, it's pretty easy.
And it was in perfect shape.
It was in perfect shape. And it worked. It was beautiful.
And the funny thing is, we just found another one recently that we're going to list.
Yeah, that one's from the 50s, but it's still beautiful.
Yeah.
I love Singer because Singer, number one, their machines last for generations, literally. They last forever. You can still repair them. And they have these beautiful, like, motifs on them. And they're made of this, like, glossy black. Like, they're just like
it's really a great example of just what well-made items in America were.
Exactly.
They're bulletproof.
They last forever.
Like something else we sold a lobster painting.
Okay, this is not just any lobster painting. This is like, you know what? I'm going to make it the picture for the podcast this week.
Real quick, it's sold for $80.
It's sold for $80. We found it at a pile of junky art. But it's like this beautiful, abstract, mid-century modern of like this crazy lobster and like a crab and like a wave. It was so amazing.
Beautiful colors. But look, this is a good example of the kind of art that we find and sell. Because it doesn't have a name.
No name, yeah.
There's no artist name on it.
It's amateur art.
There's nothing on the back. So it's nothing that you can It's research. It just looked cool. It looked cool. You know, it's just like it's one of those things where if it was on a wall, it just looks really interesting. Like,
yeah,
cool. And hand painted, and we put it up, and someone bought it. It's within a couple weeks, and I guess my question is, how does someone find something like that? You know,
I think it's like. So we've looked for art for the rentals before, and I've been trying to look for paintings and stuff. And you just do, like, okay, so they were in, like, Chicago or something. So maybe they have, like, a lake house or, like, a beach house. And they were like, I want, like, a mid-century modern kind of, like, beach painting. Like, if I could find something like that and put those keywords in, and then it's like, there's ours, you know? It's like...
Well, I mean, it's... Again, it's just a good example of when you're selling weird, quirky stuff, it is possible. Like, I think some people who sell, they get too dependent on, like, things have to always have, like, a brand name.
Or a signature that's a known artist.
And, I get that. I mean, it's really nice to be able to find something that has a brand name, because then people are just searching for the brand name. Yeah. But... I feel like if we were to pass over stuff that didn't have a brand name, we'd be passing over so much stuff
all the time.
Like those carpenter tools I got, they all have these special brand names on them. That's why they're going to sell so well, because people are searching for these specific, like, handmade tools.
Right.
Okay, something else we sold. It's it's military. It's a medal.
Yeah.
That was given to some soldier, I guess.
Right.
And the soldier maybe died and donated it to a thrift store. I saw it. It was in the glass case.
Right.
$25.
Which is high for us.
And again, I didn't tell Ryan about it. She was buying shoes, but I'm like, we said we wanted to pay more.
Right.
I looked it up it's my phone. It looked like some of them sold for over 100. I was like, let's do this. So I said, I'll take it.
Yeah. Well, as long as you looked it up,
But, when you look up things on the phone, or at least it's when I do, I don't like to be standing there and spending like 10 minutes on It's My Phone, because I just feel awkward. So I'm often just kind of doing it down, and, I do a quick search.
You're covert about it.
And I don't want to spend more than like a minute or less. So anyway, when I came home and actually did a research on it, I was like, oh, this specific metal, there are kinds of this one that sell for more, but this one is actually pretty common. It doesn't sell very well. And we listed it in a You Being You, which I love. And you were like, let's put 130.
150. It was 150. Yeah. And someone messaged us.
Two people messaged us.
Okay, so...
Because, and they were very nice.
They were very nice, yes.
One guy, I think, actually hears us through our podcast, so that he was trying to be...
They were informative, yeah. They were trying to be informative.
But, these military guys, they like to, tell you what's what.
Which is great.
And what they said was, this is such a common... It's metal. It's not worth a lot.
Now the ones that are
$15.
The ones that are worth money have someone's name and like a certificate with it and stuff like that.
And some of them, and this was, I guess, given to a lower rank person. Anyway, this is probably boring people. It sold for what we asked for, $150. Person didn't give us an offer. It sold is within 3 weeks.
Yep.
And I don't know why this person would buy ours for $150 if he can buy the same one for $15. I don't know.
I mean,
but it worked.
My theory is that he didn't want one with a name on it, or a certificate. He just wanted the piece itself. It's a beautiful piece.
So I feel like that number one saved it's saved me from losing money on an item.
Right. Sure.
But also, I think again goes to show that. It's not, on certain items, it's not always good to sell low just because other people are doing it. I don't know, it could have been, it's not like there were a million of them online. It's maybe when that person was online, ours was the only one that was buy it now. Right, available. Right at that moment.
And he's like, I want it. Here it is. And yeah, it's great because, it's hard to judge. I'm always just like, nope, I'm pricing it high because There weren't 100 listed. There were like 5 others listed. So you're like, they're not that many.
Right.
I still want $150 for it. Right. So I got it. So that's helpful.
I mean, like we just today, and again, I don't know if this person hears our podcast or if it was just a friendly person on eBay, but they were like, this shirt that you have up for $30, it's priced too high. And I said, okay, how much do I need to price it at? He says, price it at 20, and if it doesn't sell in a week, put it at 15. And I just like, all right, thanks. I mean, I'm just like, that's not how we made a business, by selling stuff cheap.
Well, and doing the price a week later. Like, I have 6,000 items. I'm not going to reprice this in a week. Right. But the funny thing is that I bet you a chocolate cake that will sell this week for full price.
I hope. Like, oh, I don't know.
No, but that's been happening.
That's quite a.
Those people with the metal message us, and then a week later they sell.
If that shirt really sells, I will do it in the nicest way possible.
I
want to write that guy, but anyway.
Yeah.
Something else we sold. We sold a pair of vintage shoes,
running shoes, E-Tonic.
And these are, we've talked about this in the past. I mean, these are like, some of the first
sneakers.
It's probably not some of the first. It's probably like from the 80s. But they are in really bad shape.
I think they were from the 70s.
We even said, these are for staging only.
They're not for
wearing.
You
cannot wear these. And someone pays $100. And that's amazing
Someone
to me.
in Italy.
Right.
Yep.
Amazing.
But look, things like that are hard to find.
But I mean, that goes back to the whole thing of like, I mean, I guess it's a collector. I'm like, what are you buying? Why do you want a pair of shoes you can't even wear?
They're going to display them on a shelf.
I hope so.
Yeah.
And again, we talk about them every week because it's amazing to me. Buttons. We bought a whole lot of them, a whole table. Well,
not a table, 2 little bins full.
And we got them up. It's quickly, and we sold 2 more things of them for $80.
Someone basically combined two different ones. It was $79 total. Incredible. For buttons, brass buttons.
Incredible.
They were beautiful.
You got to be in it to win it, is the thing I always say.
Yeah.
And now this is going to be very controversial, Ryan.
Oh, is it? I doubt it.
You don't think so?
No.
We sold a photo of my aunt.
When she was in high school, right?
For $20.
Probably her senior photo.
To someone in England. And I guess my aunt is no longer around. I didn't really know her that well.
Yeah.
But she was a nice person.
Yep.
But I, for some reason, got a pile of just family stuff. I mean, there was a time when a lot of people died, and I don't know. I ended up with stuff that no one else.
It was just a box of stuff, yeah.
And it was just a really cool. It's photo, yeah. She was probably in high school. It's like a glamorous shot where it's like hand colorized. She's got that
bouffant 1960s hair.
And I don't know. I'm not like someone that needs to hold on to stuff like that. Like I have a memory of the small amounts of time I spent with her,
right?
And I don't need to like hold on to that stuff. And so I was like, let me just sell this. And someone in England bought it, and I don't know. And maybe they'll put it. I don't know why someone would want to buy it, but I mean, it's awesome.
I feel like there are people who are artists. We talk about this all the time, who collect things like that, and they want to put it on the wall, like. Collect like people's like retro.
Should I feel bad that I sold something like that, like a piece of family?
Let me ask you.
Memorabilia.
Let me ask you. Do you feel bad?
I don't feel
bad.
No,
then you shouldn't feel bad. This is someone who you met a few times.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
What?
Period. You know,
it's not like you sold a picture of your mom.
But you know,
but you would.
But I mean, okay, like, yeah. Why don't we sketch this out? I mean. If I had a cool picture of my mom, I don't know, would I sell
would
that?
you? Do you have any pictures of your mom?
Not really.
Yeah, you don't really have any.
Yeah.
You have I think you have a little photo booklet somewhere on the shelf somewhere that we kept. I was like, we are keeping this.
We gave a lot of stuff to my
to your sister.
Your sister, because I know she would want that more than I do.
Look,
you know.
You're not a sentimental person about stuff like that. You're not.
I have feelings, right?
I didn't say you didn't have feelings. I said you're not one to be like, let's break out the photo book of Thanksgiving 1983.
We've talked about that. I think that in our perfect world, like we would have these, our house would just be bare. You know?
Yeah, super minimal. Which is so funny bare, looking around, right? Anyway, it's like all eBay.
So I don't know if other people have done that when they've had family die off, if they've sold. I remember there was one person on the forum in the past a year or two that said like her father had died, and she was like really like struggling with going through his stuff and selling it because you know
it's his stuff. Yeah.
You know, I guess things bring back its memories. But you know what? A lot of people, what they do is they just like throw it away.
Literally throw it away.
Because they're just like, I don't want to think about this. Yeah. So at least I feel good that my aunt her image will live through
some art project or something.
It's cool.
It was cool.
Customer issues. We had some this week, and on the forum, it seemed like other people were having issues as well. We talked about this buyer. He made us an offer on an item.
Yeah. A
low offer. We accepted it because we're like, let's just sell this. He gets the item and he says, I want to pay even a less for this item. And so he says, I want a partial refund if you want good feedback.
Yeah, he
and
did
so
say
we were
that.
just like, nope, send it back if you're unhappy. So he opens a return case and says that it's his fault. He says he just changed his mind. He never mailed it back.
But before the case was closed, he opens a case and he leaves us negative feedback at the same time.
Right. And so he never returns it. And as we've talked about, after 5 business days, you can call eBay and have eBay manually close it.
Close the return case because they never mailed it back.
And that's what we did.
Yeah, and actually, I will say this. I was on the phone with the rep. And I was just making sure. I was like, okay, when you close this case, because he never mailed it back, is his negative feedback going to go away? And the rep said no. And I was like, what? Right. That's not true.
And she wouldn't, or he wouldn't take it off?
No. I was like, well, will you remove it? Because, et cetera, et cetera.
Like, it's feedback extortion.
Yeah, it's all these reasons, right? He's like, no, I won't be able to because it's his opinion, blah, 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 blah. And so literally 5 minutes later, I get off the phone and you refresh our feedback and it's gone.
Right. And
because it gets removed automatically.
So that's something we didn't really know. If you get a case closed in your favor,
right,
I guess it automatically takes away any feedback that person...
I think it does. Yeah. And that was the rule that I understood. I was just checking with him and he's like, no, that's not the rule. I'm like, I think it is.
Yeah. So that's good.
That was great because that guy was really...
And so we had some people come on it's forum and they're like, I have these buyers, they bought something, they say it's broken, what do I do? And they want me to pay to ship, and look, people being grumpy.
Yeah.
And sometimes, people who buy things from you are right. We do make errors. And so we always fess up to that. But this is what we do, just so it's very clear. Someone says, I don't like this, I want to return it. There's something wrong, it's with the item. The first thing we ask is, take photos of the problem.
Tell us what's wrong.
Tell us what's wrong and take a photo. Like, give them an action. Yes. Like, don't tell them no, because that just makes people angry. Give people actions. A lot of times people won't take the photo and then it stops right there.
They don't do anything.
And then once they take the photo, then you say, okay, return it through the hassle-free returns.
Right.
But the great thing is, once they take a photo... If we're wrong, we're like, okay, we're wrong.
We messed up, yeah.
Done, here's some cash. If the photos don't show anything, then we get to use that photo when we call eBay and say, they say there's a problem, the photo doesn't show anything,
right.
We'll take a return, I
don't want to pay shipping.
The person obviously has changed their mind. And so that's what we did to several people during our week.
Sure, yep. I feel like the more you sell... which we're selling 72 items this week. That's crazy. The more you have little weird, annoying returns. I do say annoying because people are like, this thing has a mark on it. And you're like, yeah, I said it had wear. I said it had marks. And they're like, it's your fault. It's not as described. And you're like, just mail it back. Like, just okay. This one guy, I don't even want to talk about it. But yeah, it's just...
But, it's good to have these kind of ways of dealing with things so things don't get overly emotional. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just like, just send it back. But at the same time, don't be a doormat. It's, each of us have to kind of find the happy middle ground where, again, you're on a doormat, but
but you're not letting it take your life over and fighting with your partner, which we were fighting before we ate dinner today. I'm just like...
Because a guy bought a radio, it's from us, and he even said, I want to return this because I bought the wrong one. I need... Go.
Okay, but the issue is that they're saying on the return that we shipped them the wrong one. I'm like, I didn't ship you the wrong one. You bought something that you don't want. It's not my fault. So I'm trying to, like, get that information out of them because they keep saying, you sent us the wrong one. I'm like, no, I didn't send you the wrong one. You ordered something you didn't need.
So the way that you do it is that you ask them, what model did I send you?
I did that.
Okay.
And she was like, my husband received the wrong one. And I'm like, your words don't make sense. Right. Your sentences aren't making sense.
So we should take our own advice. Say, send me photos of the one I sent you. And if the photo says the same model that he bought, bingo.
Okay.
I mean, right?
I've been trying to say that to her, but she keeps writing back like...
Gotcha. Have you asked for photos yet?
No, but I will. I know, take my own advice.
That's all I'm saying. See, people, like, you just saw
You just heard exactly what we tell people not to do. But, like, yeah, returns can really get frustrating because you're like...
Right. But it's good. So we just nip that in the bud.
Okay. I'm just going to be like...
photos.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Okay, and then this is last thing, just we'll be done with this, our problems of the week is we had that really nice jacket I got
it's a starter jacket, it's reversible, it's Oakland Raiders, it's awesome. I put it up for $500.
Right. I bought it for $5, so we were like, let's sell this thing. We got a guy that sent us a low offer of like $200.
Yeah, I think it was even lower than that.
Yeah.
And then we went back and forth, and he was like, okay, $260. We're like, we're laughing. $260 is great.
Well, I mean, we were like, I would love to get more, but, like, let's just sell this thing. And so finally we accept it, and then he didn't pay us.
He didn't pay.
It's just
unpaid
like,
item case.
It's just, like, all that emotion, and, like, you feel it's like the money's in the bank, and then he doesn't pay, and then it's like, oh, my God.
So I got to relist that thing tonight. So annoying.
It really is annoying, especially on this big dollar item.
Oh, man, you're like, oh, I love that we sold that.
Yeah.
Nope, not going to pay. He's not going to message us. I have to block him.
Yep.
He's got 2 feedback.
Yep.
All right.
So things we learned in its forum during the week.
Okay, so something on the forum that we were talking about, there was a topic saying that someone sold something too low and too fast.
Oh, yeah.
So should I cancel and relist it and sell to,
Well, I mean, what the person said was...
a high price.
I found this toy. I didn't know what it was. I just put it up for $30. It sold, like, in the second I put it up.
Yeah, like right away.
And then people were messaging me, telling me it was really rare and that they would buy it for $300 if I would cancel. I don't know if those numbers are exactly right.
Yeah, something like that.
And then it was interesting. We'll put a link to its forum post where you get to see different sellers come in and just say what they think you should do. And overwhelmingly, it seems like people are like, if you didn't really make a mistake, then you should just live with your decision.
Like you didn't do the research.
And people were trying to put perspective on it because number one is that gives you integrity. Number two, we all have bought things that someone else is underpriced.
Right.
So it kind of like it
balances out.
And number three, it's just like all education is expensive. All mistakes are expensive.
Yeah.
And that, that would teach me never to do that again.
Right.
And to if
always
I don't
research.
Like if I really don't know what something is and I think it's cool, I will
look it up.
I'll look it up. Or go ask somebody else. So we don't really know what that person exactly did, but it was interesting.
Well, it was interesting because everybody has a different perspective. A lot of people are like, that's really crappy to your buyer to cancel because they have every right to buy it at the price you had. Because you didn't make a mistake. You set it at that price. It wasn't a typo. But then some other people were like, no, you should definitely cancel. You've got to relist it. So it's interesting. Just everybody has a different perspective on what is the correct thing to do.
Yeah. I mean, according to eBay, it is a contract and you're supposed to do it. But really, I guess the only thing that would really happen is the person could give you bad feedback, and that's about
it. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, people are talking about small claims court. I don't think it's anything where someone's going to sue you, but I think the integrity thing is what people were talking about.
Right.
And then the only other thing is it seemed like, again, when I was talking about customer problems that we were having, in the forums, people were talking about their own issues with people is returning things. Mm-hmm. For some reason, there's a lot of people that sell on eBay that seem to not understand what eBay's return policy is. And I'm like, if you sell on eBay, you should learn eBay's return policy inside and out. Like there's no it's mystery to it. So when I see someone come and say, how can this buyer do this? And it's like, well, because that's what the policy is. Well, even if you say, I don't take
returns,
a return, if the buyer says to eBay, this person sent me the wrong item, the broken item, an item that isn't what they said they were going to send to me.
They can return.
They can force a return. eBay will pull money out of your account and give it to them. And I don't know why some people that sell, they get outraged about that. Yeah. And it's not a mystery. So if and maybe it's because some people are new to eBay, just type in, what is eBay's return policy?
It's all
go to their website and you can read it.
Yeah.
And once you know that, then it might not make you happy, but that's the rules of the road. Mm-hmm. And so that's what we all have to deal with. And, I find it's fairly fair. So
yeah, it's fair, I think.
But if you know those rules like we do, we can win 80% of the issues we have,
because I know the rules. Look, I know the rules better than the reps sometimes. I'm like, that feedback should go away automatically, right? No, it won't. 2 minutes later, it's gone.
And the good thing too is if we do know those rules, if we know that we're just in a corner and we can't win, then we just eat it,
move on,
because we know we can't win, so it's fine.
What will your coming week be, Jay? What will you be doing?
I love that you asked that. So number one is I'm going to be doing shoes.
We have a nice cache of shoes.
We have a growing pile of shoes that I need to take pictures of.
It's very good.
Yeah. And then it's you and our helper, what are you guys going to do, you think?
We have a huge cache of vintage crafters magazines that we bought at the auction.
That's right.
So she's going through those.
That was kind of an experiment. I got a table of these someone kept magazines from 1976 to 2013. They got the subscription.
These crafter magazines.
They're not all there, but I separated them by years. But I got the whole table for $10. And I'm like, well, if we can sell every year for like $30,
it's so much money.
That's like $900.
It's crazy.
So we'll see.
So the other thing, actually, the very first thing that I will be doing, I just went 4 days straight without listing anything that she was putting up. So I have to list that stuff. Like I have to just sit there like a robot and be like blah blah blah.
Right, because we still don't have her list directly to eBay because. Really?
Well, I need to research and price stuff because there's stuff where I'm like, I looked at that, I didn't look it up, I know what it is.
Well, it's like we talked about. We're not the kind of people that sell on eBay where everything's just like one price. Like all of these things are $9.99. Right. This is all $13.99. Most of the stuff we find are just weird items, so we need to research, and that's how we pull. That's how we make a living.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to let something get by us.
Yeah, I mean, we try not to. I don't think we do, because I pretty much, and you too, look up everything. Yeah. So.
All right, let's answer the questions that people have sent in.
You can call us on our voicemail line. The phone number is 540-407-8486. You have 3 minutes to leave a message.
Hi, Jay and Ryan. Happy 300th episode. Just wanted to say happy milestone. We appreciate everything you guys do. Take care. Bye.
Thanks.
It's very nice. That's a good example of the nice messages people have sent to us.
And that's why we keep doing
300 is kind of arbitrary, but, it's
a big number,
It's a big number.
Hey, Ryan. Hey, Jay. This is Jane in North Carolina calling you guys with a storage question. I know you guys have big long-range storage plans, but have stuff in a number of places right now. My question to you is about storage space that is not climate controlled, and what are the boundaries? What do you not put in that space? I've just gotten a little bit of new storage space, which I'm excited to fill up, but it's dry, but it is not climate controlled. And my specific questions are paper ephemera. I assume I need to keep that in climate-controlled circumstances, but I was curious about that. And then even more so, ceramic stuff that might craze. Now, crazing can be beautiful, and sometimes I'll buy something because it's beautifully crazed. At the same time, I don't want to be encouraging things that aren't crazed to do so while I'm storing them. And I know that's temperature-driven, but my question is, I guess, technical about crazing, because is it just about the extremes, or is it about going from one to the other quickly? I've, for instance, pulled an old teapot off the shelf and was going to clean it, and it crazed the minute some warmer water got onto it. So it was like the contrast. And I don't know if something's going at kind of the natural pace of weather change. Do I need to worry about stuff that wasn't crazed before in that type of storage environment? Okay, that's my question. I know you guys have big long-range plans that probably involve a thermostat for your new storage building. But I'm curious what you've learned in regards to non-climate controlled things and what you don't put in there. Thanks, guys. Take care. Bye.
So in terms of what we climate control, what's in climate control for us are clothes, fabric, and I'm sorry, not fabric, but like linens type things, and shoes. That's mostly the and all glassware and porcelain delicate things are actually in our house because we don't want them to get broken in storage.
But that's not but that's not because we're worried about the heat and cold. It's more just because if we put this stuff on the kind of shelves we have in these outdoor, places,
they just get broken.
They just get dirty and broken.
Yeah.
Specifically about it crazing, I just learned that as you were talking about it. Ryan was explaining it to me, and I looked it up on Wikipedia. I mean, that's a good question. I don't know why those things craze, if it's, because it gets cold and hot, or if it's because it gets cold, hot real quick.
I have done this myself, had a piece of glass that was out in a freezing temperature and you went to clean it under warm water and it shatters.
Right.
So that might be a similar effect where you, like you said, you had the teapot and you put it under hot water and it's like gets all crackled. It's like, oops.
But I think that the answer for me is that if I feel like something could be in danger from being in extreme temperatures, we store it inside.
Yes. Like candles.
Right.
We don't put candles in our outdoor sheds because we're afraid that in the summertime they'll melt.
But then again, we do have a lot of plastic bins of paper books that are outside and are getting really cold and then really hot.
And they're fine.
Yeah, and those are fine. I mean, I think if it was like a long term, if books were out there for years and years,
that'd be bad.
But, most of the stuff we sells within a year or two.
Yeah, it's not bad. And they're in bins with tops, so nothing's getting in. They're not getting wet or bugs getting in. So
I hope that helps.
Hello, Jay and Ryan. It's Eli from PDX here. This morning I was revising a listing, something that I had posted up for a long time, and I saw a new link new to me, by the item description field. It's called Mobile Friendly Checker. And so I clicked on it, and it said I was missing a viewport meta tag. I have no idea what a viewport meta tag is, and that I needed one of those, but evidently I didn't have it, so I changed it, and now it says it's good. And so I was curious, and I went to another listing that said I don't have a viewport meta tag, and I looked on my phone, I looked up that listing, went to it, went to the item description, and basically it was making the font really, really small, and if you change it, it makes it readable. So anyways, that helped me out. I have 1,000 listings. I don't know that I'm going to go through all of them, but I'm definitely going to check it if I think that the item description is important and people need to read it. And hope that helps. Bye.
eBay is weird about this mobile checker thing because...
Yeah, I mean, number one, it's been around for a while.
Several months.
No, longer than that.
Oh,
I think
really?
Like a year ago.
Okay.
We were talking about this a while ago when eBay kind of de-emphasized the ability to put a description, when on the mobile they kind of hid that. So that's when we were like, well, we're not going to type descriptions because people don't really see them. But then they added that checker, and everyone was talking about that. Like, all of my things say they're not mobile is ready, but then I look on a mobile phone and they all look fine. I don't know what's up with that.
I'm agreeing with that because I do the same thing. First of all, we make our listings on the mobile phone. So you're like, why would they not be mobile friendly if I'm making it on the phone?
Through eBay. Like
through the eBay app
should make the right code that will go through their checker.
I think that okay, so if you just have text in your description, hey, this thing weighs 5 pounds, it's blue, and it's 36 inches. And that's all you have, you don't have anything else. That's going to be fine on a mobile. I think that they have that mobile checker for people who have like templates and like dancing Santas.
Right.
And they're definitely going to be like not mobile friendly. But the weird thing is you're like, I just have text. How is that not mobile friendly? Yeah. I just think it's a bug. I don't know what the deal is.
I think it's something that's one of their coders came up with when they started to do this, and no one has gone back to literally check on it. Like, I feel like a lot of stuff on eBay gets kind of lost. I mean, I've talked about it. It's before. I mean, eBay's like this giant company.
Ginormous.
With, hundreds, maybe even thousands, I don't know, hundreds of coders who are working on the site, and they're putting new code on top of old code and trying to clean up old code and take away and add more stuff, and, all at the same time while they're trying to keep the site operating. So it's like they say, you're trying to change an engine on a plane that's flying in the air.
Right.
And so stuff like this happens,
Look, here's an example. Did I talk about this? I got some email in December from, I don't know who it was, some engineer at eBay that was emailing sellers saying, everyone who does FedEx Smart Post really needs to check their addresses and make sure you're giving it to FedEx and not the post office because things are getting misdelivered or whatever. And I wrote to them and I was like, when I send things FedEx Smart Post to the global shipping warehouse, FedEx Labels cuts off the suite number. Like, no wonder stuff's getting misdelivered. Your FedEx software is like cutting off addresses. That was in December. I've emailed them twice, like, it's still broken. This is like a very vital thing to your warehouse. It's not like it's to like Joe at Anytown, USA. It's like your warehouse.
And did he ever write back?
Or? Yeah, he's like, okay, we're working on this. That was like 3 months ago or whatever. And I was like, great. Just, I would love to know when it's fixed. And then 2 months later, I'm like, this is like now. I'm like, this is still broken. And I haven't heard from them. Because I'm just like,
yeah.
Why is it
It's strange. I don't know.
Long?
Yeah, I mean, like we've always said. I mean, if someone knows about what he's talking about, this mobile...
The mobile checker thing.
If someone knows if it matters if eBay says it's good or bad or not, I'd love to know. But
it's weird.
We've always said eBay's kind of just like a black box. I mean, there's no information.
Yeah.
Like, we wait for the spring seller update and the fall seller update, and we're all like the plebes down below the mountain, and we wait for the announcements, and then we're all trying to like figure out what it all means. I don't know why it has to be that way. I don't know why the coders can't have their own page of like, we
updates.
Know these are problems. This is what we're working on.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure why there can't be that kind of transparency, but there isn't, and that's it.
Are we plebes or plebs?
Plebes.
Depends on if you're in the UK or not, I guess. Okay, that's it for the podcast this week. You can check out our blog at scavengerlife.com for the links we discuss and to join the conversation on the forums. You can leave a question or a comment on something you heard. Our voicemail line is 540-407-8486. We post an episode every Monday morning. On Wednesday, we post a What Sells video brought to you currently by Steven Schultz that shows what sold on eBay and how much it was sold for. You can subscribe to us through iTunes or YouTube, and you will always get the latest episode. You can listen to our other podcast where we talk about our vacation rental business, which is funded through scavenging on eBay, and that is shampooandbooze.com. And we are ending this podcast in 3, 2, 1.
Goodbye.